Yo guys, what's going on? I thought I'd talk to you about the new boxing game that's coming out, ESBC Boxing Club, and how it looks so far, and what I think it's going to be like. The game so far looks fantastic, and I'm happy with the progress the game's made. It started out as an indie game, and it started out as a little project with only a couple of people working on it, and now the spectrum of it has gone huge. So they've got fighters that you'd never thought they'd have in it, like Muhammad Ali. They've just announced Tyson Fury in the trailer you're probably going to see in the corner. They've just they announced Canelo. You know, all these massive fighters. Ever since Canelo joined, I think every fighter thought this is a good idea, and they tried to jump on the train, which is great. We've waited 10 years for a boxing game, and I think that we can wait a little bit longer. Just another 5 months or 6 months or whatever, just to get the game right, and I am perfectly fine with that. But how it looks so far is fantastic. The way they move their feet, the way you can slip punches, the way the game actually looks. Each fighter has their own individual characteristics, which is like unheard of in a fighting game. Usually you get a lot of fighters, especially like a boxing game, where people play very, very similar. Obviously, the likes of Muhammad Ali is always going to have the look of themselves, dancing around the ring and throwing the jab. And Joe Frazier's going to have his Philly shell style of fighting. But if you look at the way they've done it, each of the boxers have their own individual style, which is great.
Can I do the other one there?
You can talk in a minute. So the way they've done it, so the blocking system looks like it works, is you don't actually have to hold the block button to block. So for instance, Lawrence Okoli, is it Lawrence Okoli? I think it might be Lawrence Okoli. I was going to do a quick Google search, but I'm using my phone. Okoli will hold his hands relatively high, like a traditional English stance. So as he throws the jab, he'll keep the right hand close to his face. So if you throw a left hook to counter the jab, it'll hit his hand that's already there. You don't actually have to block. The physics system basically blocks it for you. Also, the way you move your feet, you can take little indirect steps, or you can make long steps to make your movement quicker, depending on how far you move the toggle and how hard you press backwards, forwards, or left or right, which is really interesting. So it showed you that if you hold your left stick slightly left, you will take little strides, but your guard will stay up. But if you quickly hold it backwards to try and get out of a situation, your fighter will throw his guard down and he can get caught on the way out. So it's really interesting. So you've got to strategically move. You can't just pick and choose when you want to move quickly. You know, so there's a little bit of a tactic behind it, which is fantastic. But the overall, the way the game looks is brilliant. The actual atmosphere. They've added the crowd as well in this new trailer. So the crowd looks like it's on its feet, it's bouncing. So every time you see a punch land or whatever, go on then, go for a week.
And why are you going to
Yeah, while I do my video, you go for a week. Go on.
Yeah, I'll show you when I'm
Okay.
done.
Okay. So as like a big punch lands or whatever, the crowd will go up and you can see them. Or if there's like a slow period in the fight, you'll see that as well. You'll see the crowd just dip down and they'll sit down and be prepared for the next big moment, which is great. The one thing that I'm not concerned about, what a lot of people are at the minute, is the way the punches actually look when they're landing. It doesn't look like there's weight to the punches at the minute. But remember, it's in alpha. The game is still in alpha. So if you see like Lyndon Arthur land one of the right hands that he throws on the actual trailer, it connects, but it doesn't actually look like it connects. Obviously, the other fighter moves and stuff like that, but it doesn't actually look heavy, the punches. Don't worry about that yet. That will come. Again, it's in alpha. Let them do what they do. People are complaining about as well about a release date, that it's taken too long to come out. Listen, let the game marinate and take its time. As I said before, we've waited 10 years. We can wait another 6 months for them to get the game right. I would rather a polished, beautiful boxing game than them to bring out a game which is rushed not taken care of, and people just generally, you know, you can tell that they've rushed the whole thing out. What I want to see is, which will be interesting as well, because they've mentioned that they've made a clinch system, which is going to be brand new to any boxing game ever. So, in Fight Night Champion, when you got close, the boxers didn't have a force field like they did in Fight Night Round 3. So you could actually get in close and do inside fighting, and the punches would change depending on the distance you were, which was really good for its time. But now they've introduced a clinch system where you can activate it by pressing the buttons like in Fight Night. But there's a whole work around it now. You can block in the clinch, you can turn your body, you can move your opponents, you can punch in the clinch, which is totally different. You can move guys' arms down. This is what all that they're saying. That you in the clinch you'll be able to drag an arm down to get a left hook up the middle, a left uppercut up the middle, or a right hook around the side. It's really interesting. So the points of contact will be, very, very. It'll be very defined in what they're doing with the clinch system, which is brilliant. The fighters that they've also brought out so far are absolutely fantastic. So, Terence Crawford, Lomachenko, Canelo, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Rocky Marciano making his first appearance in a boxing game in I don't know how many years, which is fantastic. They got Jake LaMotta. They've got so many brilliant fighters that they're going to bring out as well. I still think there's a couple to come. I still think you're going to see Triple G. I still think you might see a Charlo brother or both of them. There's still lots and lots of fighters there to bring out, which is, it's great. I can't wait. The way the control systems worked, I'm happy the way they brought it back to the buttons and the right analog stick. Because I'm actually a right analog stick user when I was playing Fight Night anyway. So I found it more fluent with the punches. So every time, instead of me pressing the buttons like a Tekken game, I'd be able to flick and I'd be able to use both sticks. And what are you doing?
I eat the camera.
You can't eat the camera.
Why?
Because we're talking about boxing. So the games come on leaps and bounds. Evan, stop. So the games come on leaps and bounds, and I'm made up the way it's going. What I'm interested in seeing is the game modes that they put in it so far. So they've got a career mode in it. They've obviously got a fight now. They've obviously got the online stuff. What I want to see is a stable mode online. I want to see, for instance, you and your friends can create a stable of fighters, and you can have a lead promoter, and you can fight other people from different promotions. I think that'd be a really, really cool thing they could do. You could have a head guy who makes it. Obviously, they can have a fighter as well, but then you can have your friends fight for you, and you can have a record on your promotion. Maybe you can have you can go for belts in your area, which again would be amazing thing to do, because they've got so many belts now. They've got WBC, IBF, WBO, WBA. They've got all the organisations you can think of. So they can't be short of belt ideas. You know what I mean?
Play the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it when it comes out. Yeah. The creative fighter thing again looks interesting. It's gonna be also interesting the way how you're gonna be able to create your style. Obviously, each individual fighter has their own thing, but it's going to be interesting to see how you'll be able to implement the way you want it to play, how you hold your hands. Are you going to be able to pick the exact height you have your block? Are you going to be a low guard? Are you going to be Philly shell? Are you going to be a high guard where you pressure? Are you going to be hands down? How are you going to flick your jab? Is your jab going to come straight out like a Muhammad Ali flick, or is it going to be like a Lennox Lewis where it sticks out slightly and you poke it out, or is it going to be like a Triple G where it's a thudding jab and every punch hurts? It's going to be interesting to see how they implement the game. Also, Kenny Bayless being the referee, I am very, very happy with that. It's going to be really, really interesting to see what they do with it. I can't wait. What you guys think about the game so far? What you guys think about the game so far? Have you seen the trailer? What do you think of it? Leave it down in the comments what you guys want to see in the game also. Give me a follow, give it a like if you like the video. If you're interested in the ESBC, tag them in it below and let them know how you feel about the game so far, because they are listening to feedback, I know that. I watch Boxing Fanatico quite regularly.
You see him again.
Yeah. I watch Boxing Fanatico quite regularly, and he talks about Evan. No. I watch Boxing Fanatico quite regularly, and he talks about the game, and he listens to his input and his ideas.
I've seen the bird.
Shut up. Right, so I'm going to go anyway, guys. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.